Are you ready?
Yeah.
I used to love dogs. I imagine that I used to love a lot of things once. I used to be able to stroke a dog and feel nothing except a warmth as I run my hand through its fur. But that seems several lifetimes ago now. Long before the person I became died. And long before I met you. Long before I would sneak into the hot and dark room where the creature I knew to be the stepfather lay. I would creep over and put my ear close to his fat fucking face to listen for signs of life, only because I wished he would be dead. When storms would batter the house and the branches of the willow tree would flail angrily at the window, I would say softly to myself, "Why didn't you ever love me?" I prayed to a superior presence, to some faraway God, to give me the chance to say it to his gravestone. But eventually he left, and death stole my task. Death hid herself in a vodka bottle and slowly poisoned the cunt to death. I whispered in the dark because there was no one I could pretend was listening. It's a peculiar thing to miss someone you hate, to mourn someone you wanted to kill, whose footsteps and breath made you exhausted with a fear that transcended tiredness. But I began to kill him anyway. I saw him pretending to be other teenagers like me, smugly hanging around the park in packs smoking weed, talking to young girls in pubs. I can remember the look in the eyes of everybody I ever glassed. Do you know that? They are always the hollowed eyes of a frightened child being startled awake by their own dreams. Dreams that are actually my nightmare, stabbed into reality. Their fantasies of battle and war fucked down the drain in one gory second. Do you remember when I told you about the time I awoke with sweat-soaked sheets clinging to me as my palms bled in stigmata, my body pushing tiny shards of glass out of my hands, glinting slivers stuck under my nails? I would wake up in police cells, sticky with piss, my hands blue and broken, shirts and jeans cardboard stiff with old blood. I became numb until the only words I spoke were pain, and the letters I read were wrote with fists and teeth marks. I can remember the look on the doctor's face, a distorted mask of disgust at my own blood-rimmed smile as he picked chunks of glass out of my armpit with tweezers, and a tired sadness as my mother collapsed into a twitching heap. He sounded bored when he shouted for a nurse. I began staring into mirrors, unsure what I was looking at. Why didn't you ever love me? No one ever answered. My memory grew worn and twisted as each knuckle bounced off my face. With a nose I chewed off, his image withered like dying grass until it had faded completely, and I would never see him again until I saw you. I told you once how love could hurt me more than any beating, how a pretty girl's stare could cut me to pieces. The only smile I ever cracked was one with split lips and swollen eyes, crying blood and bleeding tears. But time moves on. The heart can only take so much hate because it is not a fiery, spitting thing like so many people say it is. It's ice cold, and ice thaws with warmth and time. I found beauty in more than my own blood. I felt the sunshine, and I saw its brilliance for the first time. I felt sand on my feet, salty air on my face. They say the ocean has no memory, but I doubt it. The ocean remembers all right. It remembers me, and it certainly remembers you. It just forgives, and people get confused between forgetting and forgiveness. I can remember when I first met you. You were weedier than the others, a fragile thing, and you whined and moaned like a baby. You got in the way and interrupted everything, spouting clingy bullshit and being attention-seeking. I didn't like you. I would try my best to ignore you. I would cut you off mid-sentence while I drank with the others, and you'd look on in the background, trying your best to catch my attention. And that's when I saw the look, a look I hadn't seen in years. Why didn't you ever love me, it said. I felt a stab of guilt, but I swallowed it down hard like I used to swallow my own teeth, ignoring like I used to ignore the bruises on my own face, like the way I used to ignore and try and ignore the old man's stale breath to convince myself the cunt was dead. Then you got sick. First you went pale, and your thin legs started to wobble and shake, and then came that cough. A cough like the rattle of a rusty spray paint can. But still we ignored you, moving around you as if you was already gone. You lay on the bed shivering, with your teeth chattering, and we all tried to drink reality away, but each drink only sharpened things. Your body weight vanished, consumed by sickness, as we all said words to each other with our eyes. Our mouths dare not speak. The blood ran out of your nose first, and then your arse, and you finally started crying. The air ran open by your panicked shrieks as you tried to stand up, only to scream even more of you, watch your legs fail you, sinking back into the sodden cushions. We saw then you were really dying, or at last I saw. The others tried to avert their gaze and stare at the floor, but I couldn't. I've been looking at you my whole life. I knew death, and she nodded to me in recognition. If death has an ally, it is time, because it only exists in the things that it can kill. Things like love and memories. Pain means life, and death has no time for life. Pain is an enemy of death, because it is swallowed up and spat back out. So I drank a lot of whiskey, and I decided to love you, to love someone the way I'd refuse to love myself, because sometimes you have to kill what you love or let it kill you. I gathered your frail body up in my arms, and for a moment I thought I saw surrender alongside the death, and then it was gone, your eyes blank. I walked you down through the sand to the water's edge, your chest rising and falling rapidly, and then I noticed I was crying, the noise drowned by the terrible silence, and you took no notice as tears fell upon you like rain. I held you under the water, which electrocuted you with panic out of the dream that had been your life, and you thrashed and struggled as you felt it begin to melt away. I had to fight to keep you under. My arms locked rigid as I pushed you hard against the sand. I heard your muffled screams, louder than I ever heard anything in my life, and when I pulled you out, you was impossibly heavy, as only the newly dead can be. If death is the absence of life, and life is the greatest of things, how could you have been so heavy when you were so empty? I got venom spitting drunk, and I woke with familiar blue and swollen hands, a crust of dried vomit stuck in my beard. I howled at the sky and begged you for forgiveness, but you lied to me and said you would leave me in peace, leave me to forget. You never left. I carry your ghost around with me, the way a condemned man carries the noose that will kill him around his neck before he has seen it. Sometimes I wake from fevered dreams, and the room is under the crashing waves on the seabed, legions of crabs swarming over the furniture. My breath comes out in columns of bubbles as the salt stings my eyes and the panic crushes my chest. I stare at you in horror as you hang in the water like a limp puppet, flowing slowly to nowhere, your beetle black eyes never blinking, never turning away. I splutter awake with the taste of sea salt in my mouth, and I can see you there in the dark looking at me. Perfectly still, you're breathing that terrible rattle, the stink of wet dogs soaked into everything. Sometimes I catch you looking in the mirror at yourself, staring with those empty black eyes, but you never say anything. The dead have nothing to say.